I think as a nutritionist, I think you've just got to work a bit harder to inform the public about what you do. Because I think people think of naturopaths as being, an alternative doctor, if you like, a complementary health doctor. But people tend to think of nutritionists as only dealing in weight loss and digestive health. That's it.
Hello, everybody. Today I have Sal, the nutritionist. Sal is based in Melbourne, and today we are discussing everything related to the importance of having a niche and how that can have your business thriving. We'll also touch on several other topics around the importance of self-care, how to move forward in your business, making it the way that you define it to be. Stay tuned for more with Sal and I. Hello, Sal, and welcome to the Simple Marketing Solutions podcast. I am really excited to have you here. It is something I've been wanting to get you on the show for quite a while. I know that you've got a lot of expertise to share with us around nutrition and your drivers for becoming a clinical nutritionist. But before I spill all the beans, how about I have you introduce yourself to our audience?
Hi, Ameeta. Yeah, thanks for inviting me on your podcast. Yes, as you mentioned, I'm a clinical nutritionist, and I graduated in 2015. I did a degree in nutritional medicine because I've always been interested in food as medicine, and started my business 7 years ago now. Not as Sal the nutritionist, which you see behind me, but I was called Feel Well Nutrition when I started. And I've really just been doing my business on and off, I have to admit, since then. And now I have the ability now to do my business full time, which is great. So I can really focus on it.
Yeah. And that's great to be able to have, kept it going part time. Because I think that there are a lot of health practitioners out there that feel quite stressed because they think that they have to be in their business full-time from day one, and that can feel daunting for a number of reasons. I'm sure that you would have experienced the fact that you don't always have a heap of clients coming in your door straight away. So there's the financial obligations outside of the business that pull you in different directions. For you, having started up part-time, do you feel that that was a good move?
I think so. Yes, I think when I started my business, I didn't actually want to do it full time, because I just couldn't see myself sitting in my office on my own, just working in my business and seeing clients. So, it was also for financial reasons. Yes, I thought, I'll just get a part-time job. But primarily, I wanted to run my business, say, 2 or 3 days a week. It sounds great doing it full time now, but there are downsides to that. It can get quite lonely, and I'm the type of person where I do like to have people to talk to and bounce off ideas with. So it doesn't suit me 100% to be sitting here on my own. So, I think, as you mentioned, you don't have that regular income coming in. So it really depends on your circumstances, I think. I'm very lucky in that my husband works full time and he's the main earner. But if you're somebody who's on your own, or you're a single mom, or whatever position you're in, you obviously have to take that into consideration in bringing money in every week to pay the rent or the mortgage. So it's really a personal thing.
Yeah, it definitely is personal. And, when you mentioned, we were talking before we jumped on the call about the aspect of being lonely in clinical practice. And that's a common theme that I see and hear with a lot of my clients, when they're, working for themselves in their practice and seeing clients, and especially nowadays with the move of also being able to work from home, that sense of isolation has grown, I think. For you, what has been one way that has worked for you to break that feeling of isolation?
Well, I have always attended network meetings, even before I started my business. I mean, I was crazy. I joined a women's network meeting, and we all sat around a table in a little cafe,
Yeah.
because I was that desperate to get out there and meet people. And this was even before I started my business. I mean,
Wow.
how silly was I? But anyway, I met some amazing women, and some of them are still my friends.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's great, isn't it? That
yeah,
it be that way of not only doing business with other women or other businesses, but just building some real solid friendships from it as well.
that's right. Yeah, and most of them are, small business owners,
Mm,
like myself, and we're all in the same position. We're still learning. We still need help with marketing.
yes.
uh, you know so we can bounce ideas off each other, and then of course COVID hit, and but I still did online networking.
Mm,
It's not quite the same.
no.
And also, aside from that, if you're not really into that, you can join, just set up a group with other natural health practitioners, which we're just starting to do now in Melbourne,
Nice.
in the south and the southeast. So if you're listening and you're a pracky, whether you're new or experienced, we will be meeting once a month, and just to have a chat. So
Yeah,
you know, um,
that's great. What I'll do is I'll put your contact details below with your website and that, and then people can reach out to be able to join that, because I think that that's really a great initiative. I know that you mentioned that you and the ladies have been trying to start this pre-COVID, and then COVID hit and it disrupted everything. But
yeah,
your motivation and the passion is definitely there, because you guys have reconnected and decided to move this forward and make it a reality. So there'll be definitely a lot of practitioners out there that would love to join and just, have open conversations. So that's
yeah,
great.
yeah. And another way is also to attend seminars.
Mm,
Now that we only just kind of started going back to attending seminars last year,
yeah.
and that's run by the supplement companies, and that's a great way of meeting other practitioners as well.
Absolutely. I remember doing, my first seminars I attended were back when I was studying. All those, oh
Uh-huh.
my God, it was like 23 years ago when I think about it now.
Oh
But
gosh.
um, but it was good. It was really good because, you're learning so much information from what they're teaching, but like you said, it's a great way to network and meet other students, practitioners, in different industries as well, where you can start to build relationships and cross referrals too, which I loved.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, but if you're working in, say, a multimodality clinic, then that's great. You've
yeah.
got all the support there. And it really depends what type of a person you are. I mean, I just like
Hmm.
being with people, but you might like to be on your own, and then working on your own
Is
is
okay.
fine.
Yeah.
So you just got to
Yeah,
go with what works for you.
exactly. Now, Sal, on your banner at the back there, we've got Sal the Nutritionist, Healthy Gut,
Yes.
Healthy Mind. Now, how did you go about choosing that niche to focus on?
Oh gosh, where do I start? Can I tell you a bit about
Yeah,
how I started
please.
my business and how
Please.
it evolved into that? Yeah,
Love
so
that.
so when I started my business, I was called Feel Well Nutrition, And I was just so enthusiastic about food as medicine, what we learned, in our degree, if you've done a degree. And I thought, oh, everybody will want to know about food as medicine. This is amazing. And then, of course, I was quite naive at the time, and I thought, no, it's not quite like that. Not everybody wants to know.
No.
And at the time, I just wanted to help everybody. But as the years went on, that didn't really work, because you can't know everything about every single condition, and you can't be an expert in every condition. And most of us practitioners, we want to be experts. And I thought, no, I'll just kind of narrow it down a bit. But so Feel Well Nutrition, I was that for about a year, and then I transformed into whole food nutrition with the help of a marketing lady at the time, because that's what I was all about, was whole foods.
Mm-hmm.
But then some people thought I was a grocery store and didn't really understand what I was doing. So, it's really important, I think, to be comfortable with your business name. And I was never 100% comfortable with it, but I just went with it. And I kind of graduated towards helping teenagers. I don't quite know how that happened. Maybe because I had teenagers myself. But I still wasn't really feeling it. Because it's quite challenging helping kids and teenagers change their eating habits. Excuse me. And then probably about 5 years ago now, my daughter went through quite a difficult and challenging time. She had very bad anxiety and depression, and was unable to complete school. And we went through a couple of years navigating through the conventional mental health system, and we didn't really get very far. And I thought that there's just got to be another way. And I had always been interested in pharmacology, when we did it for my degree. And I've always been interested in psychology. And I remember at college, learning about the neurotransmitters and depression. And I remember being fascinated by all that. So I took that and kind of, did my own research and went down that rabbit hole, as we do, to look at food and nutritional supplements and mental health. So I then started, my special interest was then gut health, because everything starts in the gut, and mental health. So I was slowly graduating towards niching. And that was a much better fit, because then I was more confident in being an expert in gut health and mental health, because obviously the two are connected. But I was still getting people just coming for gut health, which is fine. That's fine. But I think it's a matter of educating people. They still don't really understand how the two are connected.
No.
So that is my mission, to educate people about gut health, food, and mental health, which is really part of it is nutritional psychiatry, which I'm fascinated in. And now, as you can see, yes, I'm Sal the Nutritionist with your help, Ameeta. So I was sick and tired of whole food nutrition, and also my website actually needed updating, and my husband had always helped me with that. And I thought, no, I just need a fresh pair of eyes to look at it. I can't look at it anymore. I can't improve it anymore. So I found Ameeta, and we started talking about redesigning my website. But then my husband said, well, what about just changing your name? And initially I thought, oh no, it's just too difficult. I don't know. And I mentioned it to Ameeta. And so with your help, Ameeta, you were the one who suggested Sal the Nutritionist. So I have to thank you for that.
That's my pleasure. I do remember there was some resistance with the name initially, where you didn't want your name to be a part of
Yeah.
it.
Well, because here in Australia, people think I'm a man. Sal is Sal Prothero, or it's salt in Spanish.
Yeah, true.
So I couldn't use my whole name.
Yes.
And I thought, well, Sal, we'll just about go with Sal. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I hope that it feels like it resonates with you now.
Yes, it does. It does.
And that's important. You mentioned transitioning from 3 different names over the years, and it is a progression, because as you grow within your business and as you start to niche down and find what your real passion is, what your real interests are, and where you're seeing the biggest success with your clients as well, then those are the opportunities where you can take that step back and think, okay, well, I'm going to redefine my business. And sometimes that comes as a name change as well. I went through that. So when I had my health food store, it was Organic Matters, which it was an organic health food store. So everything in it was organic. So that, made sense. I then transitioned into purely a naturopathic clinic, and I kept the name because people knew me with that name. But there was a disconnect because I wasn't selling products. I wasn't selling food anymore. I was just doing the naturopathic appointments. And I had to redefine myself. And I went through a period of understanding, well, the importance of the name and what people associate with that and how you want to come across to your audience. And so from that, I went to Zest Health Center, which for me, my niche at that time was a woman with burnout and hormonal imbalance. And so the Zest Health Center made sense. But it's feeling comfortable and just being open to change. I think, sometimes we get stuck and we feel we have to hang on, but change is a good thing sometimes.
And I think as a nutritionist, I think you've just got to work a bit harder to inform the public about what you do. Because I think people think of naturopaths as being, an alternative doctor, if you like, a complementary health doctor. But people tend to think of nutritionists as only dealing in weight loss and digestive health. That's it.
Yeah, there is quite a big misconception out there about the role that nutritionists have. So, it is important for practitioners like you to go out there and keep spreading that word and education. It's the more we talk about it, the more we share that message, the more it will become easier. The same as with naturopaths. I remember 20 years ago, we went through a very similar thing where you would say that you're a naturopath and people would look at you and they wouldn't know what a naturopath was back then. We've come, a long way now, but it's the same progression with the industry that nutritionists are going through right now. Yeah.
And also, you're up against dietitians as well. So, I in the end, I just wrote a blog about what's the difference between a naturopath, nutritionist, and a dietitian. Everyone kept asking me.
I am putting the link to that blog in this podcast episode because I think everybody needs to read that.
Yeah, I wrote it quite a while ago. So, but I think it's still the same. I don't think it's changed that much.
No, that'll be a great one, definitely. And for you, Sal, being in business for all these years, what sustains you in your business?
I can say it now, but if you'd asked me 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't have been able to answer you. I think just looking after yourself is the most important thing. And, we're all busy with our businesses, if we have family, if we're a mother, or whatever is going on in your life, you have to put yourself number one. You have to put yourself first. Because to see clients, I don't have a full days like some practitioners do. I don't think I even want to have full days, because it's really it zaps your energy, and there's a lot of practitioners who burn out. The really successful ones, unless they have some help. So that's really important, and I think if you work on your own, in your own practice, then getting out there, and talking to other people, because you do have to. I'm not going to mince my words. You have to have a passion for what you do, and there are several times when I felt like giving up. There are lots of other prackies who feel like that, but you've really got to have a passion and really believe in what you do, and have the confidence to do that. I think I've answered your question.
You have, definitely. The self-care element, that's something that's really close to my heart. Having worked with hundreds of patients over the years that went through burnout, like chronic burnout, because we just keep pushing. There has to be a point where we are able to stop and look after ourselves. If we're not looking after ourselves, then we can't look after anybody else. And as health professionals, as much as we know that, I think sometimes we feel that this overwhelming sense of responsibility to our community and to our patients, at the expense of our own health. And that does need to change. That balance needs to shift.
Because women in particular, we're very good at helping everyone else. And we put ourselves last.
We do. Yes, we do. For you, Sal, talking about self-care, what would be 2 things that you do in your routine as part of your self-care routine?
Well, I love nature, and living in a city, I obviously don't have nature on my doorstep, but at least I have a green grass at the back of my house. But I live quite close to the bay in Melbourne, and that really is my happy place. And it was when I was studying at Endeavour and doing all their student clinics, and a really stressful time. As soon as I got out at the station, I felt like a different person. So I really try and go down to the bay a few times a week, and that's that I really need that. I wish I could say that I do meditation and things that I'm supposed to do.
It's not for everybody.
I struggled with it. But no, I'm the world's worst when it comes to self-care. I'm always doing something in my business. And I just went on a women's retreat just last weekend, which kind of kicked me up the backside and said, right, you've really got to look after yourself. So going on retreats like that is amazing. And I guess I just now I'm just more mindful. So instead of meditation, I do mindfulness. And just check in with myself every couple of hours, and I've slowed right down. Before I used to be running around like a headless chicken, like I had to do everything, business, coffees, part-time job, friends, whatever. But now I've really taught myself to say no a lot, and I think that's really important. Because otherwise it's just too stressful trying to fit everything in.
And the ability to say no and set that boundary, as much as sometimes you feel conflicted, but that you have to for your own sanity. it's the biggest lesson I think that we can learn right now, around boundaries for ourselves and for those around us in the relationships that we're in, whether that be personal relationships, business relationships with clients, patients, etc. as well. You know, working all the time, consistently, 7 days a week, it's too much. And I find that that's where a lot of business owners, especially in the health industry, we lose that creativity, we lose that ability to even look at our patients and treatment plans more objectively as well, because we're so engrossed in it every minute of the day. So when we can just step back, you come up with ideas and inspiration of, I didn't think that I could, I haven't thought of that for that patient, or I haven't tried this treatment plan before. Let's give it a go.
That's right. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, you've just reminded me.
There you go. I love it. And so one last question that I wanted to really ask you, because I know that a lot of listeners would get value from this, is for those new grads out there that are, about to start or just starting out with their business, are there any pearls of wisdom, any tips that you would share with them?
Yeah, when I look back to when I graduated, all I knew was that I had to get an ABN number and become part of a professional association. That's all. We weren't taught much.
No.
So, you really do learn on the job. So yes, I mean, I've got so much advice, but just to bring it back to a few, really do your research. When people used to say to me research, I go, no, I hate research. No. But you don't have to particularly pay somebody to do your market research. You can do your own research, talk to people, just get out there in your community, online. You learn a lot, and just get a feel for what you're interested in, and don't treat everything. I really think that's a mistake. And have your own niche, and don't think, like I did at first, oh well, so and so's doing that, I won't do it. But they're not you. So every professional has their own way of working, and people will come to you for you. So it's not just the treatment plans that you write out, it's your personality, it's you as a person. So yeah, I think I'll just kind of, and wait as well. I just rushed into everything. I was so enthusiastic. I thought, I've got to do everything. And that was a mistake. So please don't do that. Just take your time, because I know we all learn from our mistakes, and it's good to have mistakes, but we don't want too many mistakes. And I wasted the first couple of years, I think, by doing that.
I think that's really sound advice. Thank you for sharing that and being open about your journey as well, and how it impacted you in those first few years. There is a tendency I've noticed with practitioners, and we had Lisa on a few weeks ago, and she brought up a similar theme of new grads rushing out there and feeling that they need to have their business up and running even before they graduate, and there's this real pressure. I don't know if it's self-imposed pressure or pressure from colleges, or where it's actually coming from. Like, I haven't done that research, and maybe I should, but there is that tendency of rushing into business. And I think that taking it slow, and even just getting more work experience initially to see what a clinic is like to run, what a business is like to be involved in, is that really what you want to be doing? Because once you start a business, I mean, you want it to work, right? You want it to be there for years to come. So it's a big commitment, and you've had yours now for quite a few years, which is brilliant. Is there, and I know I was saying it's the last question, but this is the last question, I promise. So for you being in business, what has been the biggest highlight for you?
For me personally, is when I change someone's life, I guess. I mean, that's a bit dramatic, but they come to you with hope that they're sick. And, a lot of the time we can overcomplicate things. I'm guilty of that, in terms of treating someone. But a lot of the time it's actually just simple changes that they can make. And you see, now I have 4-month programs, so I'm more guaranteed of seeing results. So that's another bit of advice, maybe, if you want to call it advice. We all start out doing consultations, one-to-one consultations, and that's great, don't get me wrong, and you should do that when you graduate. But further down the line, like I actually got frustrated because I just found that some people didn't comply. They weren't really taking it that seriously, and I got frustrated, which is not a good thing. So that's why I now have 4-month programs, so you can see it from start to finish. Well, there's still things going on after 4 months, but that's the greatest thing for me, is to think that I've made a difference in someone's life.
Yeah. I think it's really powerful to know that we've played some little part in that journey with them, and just being their guide to getting the results and helping them to live a healthier life and be who they really want to be in their lives. So yeah.
And also just want to add to that, that a lot of people have been to see so many specialists, so many GPs, and they come to you because they don't know, they're not getting anywhere. So, so there is pressure then on you, they want a quick fix. And of course, as you know, it's not a quick fix. So you have to manage people's expectations.
And that's where, I think the value in a longer term treatment plan, like a program, can really help with that expectations, and to give them enough time to really see the progression with the results, with those check-ins every month as well. So yeah,
and thank you to you for helping me set them up.
That's okay. My pleasure. Thank you, Sal. Thank you for being here, sharing your expertise as a clinical nutritionist, as a business owner, somebody who's been on the journey for a number of years now, and successfully, transitioned from part-time into full-time. And I hope that it continues to fulfill you being in your business full-time. So well done on all that you've achieved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Ameeta.
Well, that's a wrap for this week. Thank you for being a listener on the podcast. I hope that you've gotten value from today's podcast episode. Remember, hit subscribe so you get notified every Wednesday when a new podcast episode hits the stands. If you know 2 to 3 people, please do share this podcast with them. Our goal, as I said, is to help as many business owners as we can streamline and automate their marketing. Until next week, my friends, happy marketing.